Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us today. I had a question about algae. I understand that the Department of Energy Office of Science has supported fundamental science research on biomass, including $600 million since 2007 for the 3 bioenergy centers, bioenergy research centers, which, according to the website, provide the fundamental science to underpin a cost-effective, advanced cellulosic biofuels industry. We certainly support the work that's being done in that area and agree that that's important. I would just encourage you to expand the office's portfolio to include research on algae. I'm sure that there are many members of Congress, including, of course, other members of the bipartisan Congressional Algae Caucus, which I co-chair, who would appreciate your support for algae research in the DOE's Office of Science, and I wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, I'll certainly get together with Pat Damer here and see what we're doing and what more might be done. I will note that there are other programs engaged here. For example, our work with DOD and USDA in our tri-agreement. I believe 2 of the 4 projects certainly involve oils and algae. Right, but I'll check that.
And we certainly appreciate your participation in that and support that effort and the funding for it. And I also wanted to applaud the department's attention to carbon capture, utilization, and storage research, and wondered if you had any thoughts on what kind of technologies would be looked at for CO2 utilization.
Well, today the principal use is the principal utilization approach is enhanced oil recovery. In fact, we are producing about 300,000 barrels a day today from CO2 enhanced oil recovery, where that CO2 is mostly natural. So as that ramps up, there's a potential for about 600 megatons of CO2 per year for enhanced oil recovery, if the rather loose projections hold out, which could only come from carbon capture. Right. So that's the principal one right now. It's known.
Say again, how much do you say?
The potential is for 600 megatons of CO2 per year, which would produce about 3 million barrels a day. Okay. And roughly speaking, it's a half a ton of CO2 per barrel of oil produced. So that could be substantial utilization. Then there are the others which are still in much earlier stages. I mentioned one earlier, sunlight to fuels, sunlight plus CO2 plus water going to fuels. That's an example of a much more research obviously required.
Right, great, I appreciate that, and that's also very important. Finally, on advanced nuclear reactors, in fiscal year 14, Congress gave the department $12 million for advanced reactor concepts for an industry-only competition, 4 times the amount you had in the previous year. And I hope that means that you could make some grants as high as $4 or $5 million that would attract competitors. Maybe that the department is looking to develop the whole reactor as opposed to individual technologies. Do you anticipate that the department would be able to communicate with American companies along those lines?
I believe there is communication along those lines, but I'll get back and talk with Mr. Lyons and see if we can't sharpen it up.
Okay, super. And again, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for your fine work and for being here today.
Thank you.